glad you're joining me again for another midweek video presentation. This week we're going to be having our midweeks on Christ being the light of the world. And this is a fantastic subject, one of the more well-known statements that Jesus has made, that I am the light of the world. And in this discussion, this family group discussion really is designed to have it more interactive, that when you're leading this, you really want to engage your listeners to really come up with a lot of the solutions and the questions that you're going to pose in this lesson. And there are three concepts that we're really going to hit. Number one, that obviously Jesus is the light of the world, and really looking at when God began the world, He began with light. And when God began His reconciliation through Christ, He began with light in John chapter 1. And that's a fantastic analogy, but the truth of all of this is that Jesus came into a very dark world, and that darkness was afraid of the light. And in this first concept of understanding Jesus as the light of the world, we really want to talk a little bit about how we hide. How we try and sometimes run from the light. Yes, even as disciples, we try and do this. And it's really key here that you don't give all the answers, but that you really get your listeners to engage with you by questions. And there's some great questions in here that will help and aid in that. But what you've got to really be able to do is play off of your listeners. When you hear key responses that really make the point, ask more questions about that to that same individual that'll spark others to engage in the same way. Because we don't want to go out and give people fish. We want to teach them to fish. And this is a great opportunity, as you as a family group leader, to really teach people to dig deeper in their Bibles, but also how to engage in such a way that there's a great discussion where there's mutual edification. The second concept that we're going to get into with Jesus being the light of the world is how Jesus exposes darkness in our own life through our motives and our thinking. How does He do that? With the Word of God. And there's some great questions and scriptures to read on that part. And really what you want to do here is just talk about when we do find ourselves in that position where God is exposing weaknesses in our life. Where do we go? How do we respond? And what are some of the temptations there that would prevent us from being open? You see, because when we get in that mode and we don't want to be open with others, and we tend to hold back, and it allows Satan to have an opportunity to really harden our hearts. And we don't want that, because a hard heart is something that God cannot work with. And the third concept in Jesus being the light of the world is that literally His light, we are a reflection of Christ's light to others. And this one, we're talking about how we can really reach this lost world. What we can do to really be that reflection of Christ so that we can have the same kind of impact in many others' lives. And again, in here, we really want to engage our listeners. I want you to, one, master this outline. It's a pretty simple and basic outline. But I want you to also come in understanding, man, I really want to engage my listeners so that they're all engaged in this and we really get a lot out of this as we talk about it. And then at the end of this lesson, there's going to be some time for people to pair up and just talk openly about where they're at. Maybe some things that sparked them in the lesson, maybe some things that are going on in their life that they need to get open and honest about. And this is a great opportunity to really build, strengthen, encourage, and help one another out. Listen, I'm so glad you're leading, and I get to partner with you in the gospel here in the southern region. You're doing a fantastic job. Let's keep giving God the honor and praise, and I believe God will bless us in many ways. Thank you, and have an incredible midweek. If you have any questions or thoughts, please feel free to give me a call.